What's it like to coach in the real world versus a perfect world? I'll share some thoughts with you in today's video. I recently took a group of people through an executive coach training and certification program. What a wonderful experience. Throughout the seminar, I talked about the real world of coaching versus an idealistic world of coaching. There are two worlds, and as much as we'd like to live in that perfect world of coaching, that's not really what happens in the real world. There are 4 ideas that I'm going to share with you today about how these two worlds are a little bit different. The first one is, in the perfect world, every client would be totally coachable. They come to the session ready to go. They have an idea that they want to be coached on, and they feel completely open to being vulnerable, to growing, to seeing things a different way, and determining what would be the next actions to then change and how might that affect their view of the world and how they see themselves. Totally coachable. In the real world, that's not always the case. Sometimes you get clients who are distracted, they're not sure what they want to be coached on, they have some ideas of how they might see things differently and what new actions they might take versus things they've done in the past, but not always. Sometimes they're resistant to change because they think things are just fine the way they are. So you do have to work with clients who are not always totally coachable in the real world. Another way is, in the perfect world, every coaching session will have a revelation or two. We'll have a big aha, the moment when the light bulb goes on and the client feels like, this is the answer I've been looking for. Wow, thank you, coach. In the real world, it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes the aha doesn't come at all. Sometimes the aha comes in between coaching sessions and not within a coaching session, because after a coaching session ends, clients often continue to ponder and reflect upon what was discussed in the coaching session. And upon reflection and contemplation of the dialogue and the path, then that might lead them to a new insight. And so the aha might happen without you there. As much as you'd love to be there, it's not always that way in the real world. In other situations, the aha comes every several sessions, not in every coaching conversation. So take that weight off your shoulders and release from it, because that's not real world coaching. Here's another one. Every session will be an ideal coaching session with all the solutions coming from the client. Don't confuse this with idea number 1 about the client always being totally coachable. What I mean here is that it's a perfect coaching session where you say, what ideas do you have? What are thoughts that you have in terms of where you could go next? In a real world coaching session, sometimes they need ideas from us, the coach. They will ask for our advice. They want to know what we think. They want suggestions. And we will then sometimes take off our coach's hat and put on our advisor's hat and offer a suggestion or two. Of course, as I've talked about in past videos, we remain neutral and detached from any advice or suggestions that we might offer, and provide no sense of obligation to the client that they should do anything about any advice that we might offer, because we know that anything we could think of could very well miss the mark, since it's not our life, it's not our world, and we don't see everything, and we haven't heard everything about the situation, and so we don't really know that what we think would have a positive effect if the client were to pursue it. And we know that ideally the client will pursue their own situations, because then the greatest learning will usually happen, and they usually feel more motivated to follow their own ideas. And then the last idea is that every client you know would make a great fit for you will hire you. In a perfect world, every coach fit conversation goes swimmingly when you are talking to your ideal prospect. You hit it off. You have great conversations that are more like coaching conversations, where you walk them through how to make a decision about hiring you as a coach. And they share with you the things that they would like to work on, which are perfectly in line with your sweet spot. And at the end, they say, how do I sign up? When can we start? Well, in the real world, there are those situations where you feel like the conversation has gone great. This person would be a great client for me, and I can't imagine any reason why they wouldn't sign up. It just seems ideal, and yet they choose another coach. Ask me how I know. This has happened to me more times than I can count. And just recently, it happened to me again. And every time I'm just as surprised, but I get over it pretty quickly because I realize, wait, this has happened to me before. Sure, they were ideal, but another prospect will come along and they will be ideal and they will choose to sign up with you. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too disappointed when your ideal client says no. It's just leaving room for your next ideal client. I hope this video has helped you to see that there are differences in the world we idealize as coaches and the world we'll actually live in as coaches. In a future video, I'll share some other ways that the two worlds are different from each other. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching and training programs, please go to my website, bayareaexecutivecoachtraining.com, to learn how you could become trained and certified as an executive and leadership coach this year. If you have ideas about how the two worlds of coaching are different, share them in the comments below, or feel free to email me at michael@bayareaexecutivecoach.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Share this video with others and like it if it has been helpful to you. Thank you very much.